during the time that you treated Miss Heard, did she ever seek treatment from you for injuries that appeared to be the result of domestic abuse?
No, she did not.
Did she ever seek treatment from you for any injuries that she told you were caused by Mr. Depp?
No, she did not.
Straight.
And did Miss Heard ever tell you that Mr. Depp abused her?
No, she did not.
Straight 3.
And you never witnessed any physical abuse by Mr. Depp against Miss Heard during the time that you treated both of them?
No, never.
And you're out of there.
If Ms. Bourne observed that Ms. Heard had any physical injuries, is this something that would have been documented in her patient notes for Ms. Heard?
Yes, absolutely.
In March 2015, you tracked
A nurse visiting somebody on a daily basis would visibly see bruising on a face and would make notes of it. They might not necessarily voice it to the patient. They might wait for a patient to bring it up to them. They might discuss it but a nurse will always take notes. They will always have it is their duty of care to put it in the notes. Should it ever go to trial or court, or for whatever reason, it is there in the notes. But it never goes until somebody presses charges.
down to Australia to attend Mr. Depp, is that right?
Yes.
And at the time, Mr. Depp was already in Australia, correct?
Correct.
And was Miss Lloyd with him?
Think of it like this, right? You go into a hospital in America. You go into a hospital. It is the hospital's duty to report any stab wounds or gunshots. But in terms of domestic violence and stuff, how many doctors over in America do you think see men and women beating up in physical relationships, and then it's not reported, it's not, it's kept there in record, but it never goes any further unless somebody presses charges towards somebody. But there's always notes. There's always record evidence, like when they take x-rays and stuff like that, you see the fractured bones, you can clearly see a pattern when something happens continuously again and again and again. You see a pattern.
Yes.
And was Miss Heard with him?
Yes.
You arrived in Australia. When did you first see Mr. Depp?
I believe it was the day after I arrived.
And where did you see?
So we're with the doctor still, and he's now being asked about Johnny Depp's finger.
Did Mr. Depp tell you what had happened to his finger at that time?
Yes.
How long?
What would be interesting to know is if Johnny Depp told him the truth of what happened to his finger, or if he told him that he cut his finger with an onion.
Did you attend Mr. Depp outside of the house?
Not long, probably a half hour, because I needed to get him to the emergency room.
So immediately after meeting him at the house, you went with him to the emergency room?
Yes, I cleaned his wound to the best that I could with the supplies that we had, and then took him. So it was within a half hour that we left.
Did you return to the house after bringing Mr. Depp to the hospital?
No, I was taken back to my hotel.
So he literally gave him medical care on the spot, took him to the hospital, and then continued with his evening. I would have thought the doctor would have stayed there, had to have passed off any information he had to the doctors that were there as well. Let them know what kind of medicines and stuff that he was. I mean, I'm sure Johnny Depp could have done that, and he had a PA and everything there, so. Strange. Okay, so they've asked the doctor about him going into the house, yeah? And there's something here in this sentence that kind of struck me.
To look for the tip of the finger, hoping that we would be able to put it back.
Was the tip of the finger found?
It was found.
Who found it?
I believe this man was their chef.
If Johnny Depp had a chef, how did he cut his finger chopping an onion? Does nobody else think of that? Strange. If he had a chef, how did he chop his finger cut on an onion, try and chop an onion? That's just doesn't make sense. You know, this is interesting as well. Another point
So
I'd like to make.
did not have any observable bruises that you saw.
That's correct.
We've already established that nurses take notes.
Did Miss Heard appear to have a broken nose? Was Miss Heard's face swollen at all when you saw her?
Not that I was aware of, no.
Did Miss Heard have any cuts on her arms when you saw her?
Not that I can recall.
Did you recall seeing any cuts on her feet or any other part of her body?
I can't recall.
Strike three.
If Miss Heard had...
Hang on. Seeing as you're a doctor that takes so many great notes, why don't you check your notes? You don't have any, you say? Strange. Seems to be getting stranger. And just so we get it on camera.
Not that I was aware of, no.
So he couldn't see anything. So
Did Miss Heard have any cuts on her arms?
I just paused it
when
the
you
wrong
saw her?
time. So.
Not that I can recall.
Did you recall seeing any cuts on her feet or any other part of her body?
Just play it.
I can't recall.
I can't recall.
If Miss Heard had appeared to have been injured, is this something that you would have documented?
Yes. There was blood around the home, as I had previously mentioned, but I didn't specifically see blood on glass.
I can't imagine. I wonder, like, you know, like some people when they have an injury, if they kind of like get that, what is it, like phantom limb, is it? Now I know Johnny Depp's got his finger back and stuff, they put it back on. But I wonder if he gets like any kind of funny, because I'm kind of getting funny fingers just hearing about it. I'm really empathic in that kind of way. I could just feel it. But I'm getting tingles in my fingers as they're talking about it. I wonder if he kind of gets that kind of phantom limb sensation. Or what is it? Phantom limb. Oh, there's a special word for it. I can't think of it. Anyway.
Alex, could you please pull up what I've marked as document K? And I believe will be Kipper Exhibit 35.
This is a letter from the doctor to Johnny Depp. So it'll be interesting to see what how the doctor responds, what his air is on emails, because he seems quite reserved on the video here, so it'll be interesting to get a little bit more of a sense of him. Although he seems quite straight up.
Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And what is it?
If you could just, for my verification, can you scroll down to the bottom, please?
Sure. It goes on for 2 pages.
Yes, I'm familiar with this document, yes.
Did you prepare this document?
No.
Is this a document that was prepared by someone who works for you?
This was prepared by Monroe Tinker, who was a nurse practitioner who worked for me at that time.
Is this a record that's ordinarily prepared and maintained in the course of your business?
Yes.
And have you reviewed this document before?
Yes.
When would you have reviewed it?
I reviewed it immediately after
This just
the
looks like a
visit,
general kind of
probably
like
the
check.
next day. And I also reviewed this a couple weeks ago.
And I'd just like to direct your attention to the last page. Is this your signature here?
Yes.
And when would you have signed this?
That was confirming that I reviewed Mr. Tinker's notes.
Dated 17th
Going back to the top, this is a patient record for Miss Heard, correct?
Yes.
And this, where it says date December 17th, 2015, is that the date of this? That's the date of this document?
Yes.
And the document states phone call consultation headache, correct?
Yes.
So does that mean that on December 17th, 2015, Ms. Heard called the offices to report a headache?
Yes.
And right below this, there's a paragraph that starts out with HPI. What does that stand for?
History of present illness.
And is the information in this paragraph
Is there something about her bumped her head?
Ms. Heard reported during her phone consultation?
That's what's written. I was not there, but that's what's written.
States today the patient reports a headache after she bumped her head while standing up 2 days ago, correct?
Yes.
And a couple sentences below that, it says last seen in the office on 12/23/2015. Is that an error? Or did she come back in later?
No, I think that's got to be an error.
So, based on this document, it's your understanding that Ms. Heard called the office on December 17th.
Yes.
Scrolling down to the bottom here, it says objective data physical exam. Do you see that?
Yes.
Does that mean that Ms. Heard came into the offices for a physical examination?
That's what it signifies, yes.
And would that have also been on December 17th, 2015?
Yes. This note reflects that visit. Everything in this note reflects that visit.
And so Monroe would have also performed that physical examination?
Monroe did perform that physical examination. I did not see Miss Heard. Monroe saw Miss Heard.
And the information below this heading of physical exam, which goes on to the next page, are these the findings from Ms. Heard's physical exam on December 17th?
Correct.
And if Ms. Heard had any physical injuries, would those have been noted in this portion of the document?
Yes.
And there are some medical terms in here, but so if you could let me know, does any of this indicate that there were physical injuries that were documented?
No.
So, what we've gone for our first break, and basically what they've left us, like, it's like a proper true drama. They've left us on a cliffhanger. Dare they? They're basically getting to the point that the doctor cannot disclose what Johnny had told him because of the doctor-patient rule. However, Nurse Floor, whatever her name is, she was present, and she is not under the doctor's oath, I don't believe. So they can directly ask her what Johnny said happened, to see if he was honest with the doctor and said exactly what happened, or if he, you know, when exactly they started kind of trying to cover up that Amber had thrown this magnum-sized bottle at him. So she might be the one to watch out for, that's going to collaborate this story. Oh my god, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. I got rid of my television. I don't have a television. It's so bad. At the beginning of COVID, I decided to get rid of it. With all the reports and everything that was coming in with COVID, I just decided to get rid of the TV. I do have a projector. I invested in a projector which takes up the entirety of that wall there, which is amazing to watch films. And I have my PlayStation, which obviously connects to the internet. So, yeah, we'll say no more on that topic. But yeah, I tend to watch a lot of things on the projector, but I'm not connected to mainline television or anything like that. So I just can't be bothered with it. Reality television programs and everything, I stopped watching it all. But this has been really exciting. I'm really kind of getting into this. It's going to be like one of those TV programs that you invest in. And it's so terrible to be talking about Johnny Depp's life like this, because this is his life. But it's like one of those best TV programs that you get. It's going to get really invested into, and then in 6 weeks it's going to be gone, and we'll just be like, oh well, what next program can we binge on because we're so bored at home? Anyway, they've gone for a break. I'm going to take my dog for a walk because she wants to go for a walk. You want to go walkies? Yeah, it's pricked up. You want to go walkies? Sick? You want to go walkies? She's trying not to look desperate. She's upset with me. Look at that face. Want to go out? So we'll be back later.